Hey, coin hunters. Have you ever looked at a nickel and thought, is this little thing worth more than my lunch? Well, what if I told you that a 1962 Jefferson nickel, just a regular nickel, could be worth up to $3 million? I know, it sounds crazy, but stick with me. This isn't just another coin collector's dream story. It's real, and it's totally worth knowing about. So grab your magnifying glass, and let's dive into why this tiny coin could make you rich. Okay, so let's break this down. The 1962 Jefferson nickel. Sounds pretty unassuming, right? Like, you've probably got a few in your coin jar right now. But here's the kicker, not all of them are created equal. If you have one with no mint mark, and it's in good condition, well, my friend, you might just be holding a small fortune. See this little space here? Normally, you'd find a mint mark like a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But in 1962, something unusual happened. The US Mint actually forgot to put mint marks on some of the coins. It was a little oopsie-daisy. But, guess what? That tiny mistake turned these coins into unicorns for collectors. And guess what these unicorns are worth today? I mean, we're talking upwards of $3 million. Yep, $3 million. That's not just enough for a weekend in Vegas. That's enough to retire early, buy a house, or, I don't know, fund a trip to the moon. Seriously, that's how valuable these rare 1962 nickels are in the right condition. Now, I know what you're thinking, are you messing with me? Trust me, I was thinking the same thing when I first heard about this. I mean, it's just a nickel, right? But here's where it gets real interesting. The condition of the coin matters big time. If that 1962 nickel has been worn down from years of use, or if it's been sitting in the bottom of your sock drawer, well, it's not going to be worth anywhere near $3 million. But, if it's in mint condition, with no major scratches, no discoloration, and a clear, readable date, that's when the magic happens. And listen, I get it. Coin collecting can feel like a bit of a mystery. I mean, for years, I had a whole jar of random change. I didn't think much about it. But one day, I was at a yard sale, and this old guy, probably 85, wearing a Hawaiian shirt, he tells me, "Kid, if you got old coins, you might be sitting on a gold mine." At first, I thought he was just trying to sell me his vintage cans of soda. But then, I checked my change, and boom, I found a coin worth way more than I expected. So, moral of the story, you never know when you could have a hidden gem just lying around. And let me tell you, that feeling of finding something valuable, totally by accident, is honestly better than winning the lottery. Alright, now I'm not saying that every 1962 Jefferson nickel is going to make you a millionaire. But if you've got one of these in your collection, or you happen to find one while digging through your change drawer, make sure to double-check it. And if you see no mint mark and the coin's in great shape, you just might want to get it appraised, because you could be holding a small fortune in the palm of your hand. So, what's the takeaway? Keep your eyes peeled, do your homework, and don't underestimate the power of a nickel. It's not always just pocket change, it could be your ticket to the good life. And if you want more tips on which coins to keep an eye out for, coins worth money, valuable tips, and maybe a few more hilarious coin stories, let me ask you a question. Have you ever had one of those moments where you look at your change jar and think, man, I wonder if I have a fortune hidden in here? Well, stick around, because I'm about to blow your mind with a coin that could be worth way more than what you'd expect. Today, we're talking about the 1964 Jefferson nickel, but not just any 1964 Jefferson nickel. No. We're talking about the one with no mint mark, and if you're lucky enough to have one, you might be holding a little piece of history worth up to $2.7 million. That's right, million with an M, so, grab your magnifying glass and get comfy, because this is a wild ride into the world of coins that can make you rich. When you think about a nickel, you probably think of a simple 5-cent coin. Not much to it, right? Well, in 1964, the U.S. Mint produced a ton of Jefferson nickels. Most of them had a mint mark, either a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia. But here's where it gets interesting. There was a small batch of 1964 nickels that were released with no mint mark at all. Now, if you're scratching your head, wondering why this is such a big deal, let me explain. You see, this coin was supposed to have a mint mark, but for some unknown reason, possibly a mistake or a mix-up, some 1964 Jefferson nickels were released without one. And when that happens in the world of coin collecting, it's like finding a needle in a haystack that you're probably thinking, yeah, okay, but how do I know if I've got one of these rarities? Well, here's the trick. Flip your 1964 nickel over and take a close look near the mint mark area. If there's nothing there, then you might have a jackpot. The rare ones were minted in Philadelphia, and the absence of a mint mark is what makes them valuable. Now, let's talk numbers. A regular, run-of-the-mill 1964 Jefferson nickel is worth, well, 5 cents. But the unminted ones? Well, a pristine one, and I'm talking about one that's in really good condition, can fetch you up to $2.7 million. Yes, I said it, $2.7 million. And that's not just some wild internet rumor. It's real. In fact, a 1964 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel that was in mint condition sold for that price at auction. Insane, right? Now, I know what you're thinking. That's great, but how do I even know if my coin's worth anything? Good question. It's all about the condition. The better the condition, the more valuable it is. A coin with no wear, no scratches, and a nice shiny surface. That's what we call a high-grade coin. But even if your 1964 nickel is a bit worn, you could still be looking at a decent profit, just not quite $2.70 million. By the way, I've got a little confession to make. I used to have a huge collection of coins, and one day I thought I had found a rare gem. I was so sure I'd discovered a treasure. It was a 1964 nickel I thought was missing the mint mark. I spent hours Googling, trying to figure out if I had struck it rich, only to discover, after a bit more research, that it was just a regular old nickel with some wear and tear. But hey, I did learn a lot about coins that day, and you can bet I'm keeping an eye out for those rare ones now. So, what's the takeaway from all this? If you've got a 1964 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark, you might be sitting on a small fortune. But remember, it's all about condition. The better the coin, the higher the value. And if you don't have one, well, keep looking. You never know when that rare coin could turn up in your spare change. If you're into coins and want more tips on how to spot treasures like this, hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. I've got plenty more tips and strategies to help you become a coin collector expert, and who knows? Maybe one day, you'll find a coin worth millions, too. You're digging through a jar of loose change, maybe you've got a couple of old pennies, a quarter that's seen better days, when, bam, you stumble across a coin that's about to change your life. What's that? A 1987 D Jefferson nickel. It looks like any other nickel, right? Wrong. That humble little nickel could actually be worth a whole lot more than you think. Stick around, because today, we're talking about why your 1987 D Jefferson nickel could be worth a whopping $2.5 million. Yup, you heard me right, million with an M. So, grab your magnifying glass and let's dive into the world of coin collecting and how you could be sitting on a goldmine without even knowing it. So, 1987 D Jefferson nickels, they're not exactly rare, right? In fact, the US Mint made about 1.2 billion of these bad boys. But here's the kicker, only one or a few of these coins might actually be worth a ton of money. Let's rewind a little. Back in 1987, the D Mint mark, which stands for the Denver Mint, produced a batch of nickels that were supposed to be, well, just ordinary. They were part of a regular mintage, so you probably have a few just like it in your change jar right now. But some of those nickels, thanks to a rare mistake during the minting process, came out with drastically off-center strikes, or other imperfections that make them stand out. And guess what? That error is what could make them worth millions today. Now, imagine this scenario. You're cleaning out your grandma's attic and you find an old jar of coins from the 80s. You're thinking, yeah, I'll probably find a few silver quarters, maybe some pennies to put in a book, but then, you find it. A 1987 D Jefferson nickel that's just a little off-center. You hold it up to the light. Wait a minute, this thing doesn't look right, and here's the best part, a few of these rare error coins have actually sold for as much as $2.5 million. No joke. It's like winning the coin lottery, except instead of scratching off a ticket, you're digging through your pocket change. So how do you spot one? Well, if you've got a 1987 D nickel, take a good look at the details. The most valuable ones have a noticeable off-center strike, meaning the image on the coin isn't aligned correctly, or they have other errors, like double strikes or die cracks. These imperfections are super rare, so if you come across one, you might just have a hidden treasure, but don't get too carried away. Just because it's a 1987 D nickel doesn't mean it's automatically worth millions. These error coins are extremely rare, so it's all about the condition and the specifics of the mistake. A lot of these coins are just worth the face value, but a select few are in mint condition, pun intended, and can fetch a hefty price. So, here's the deal, if you've got a 1987 D Jefferson nickel lying around, do yourself a favor, take a closer look. It could be your ticket to financial freedom, or at least a cool little profit. Now, I'm not saying you should quit your job and start a full-time coin hunting career just yet, but it's always fun to know that a few good flips of your loose change could turn into something more than just pocket change. And hey, before you go digging through all your coins, make sure you're subscribed to the channel for more tips on coins that are actually worth more than you think. I've got a ton of cool coin info coming your way. Who knows, the next $1 million coin could be in your collection. Alright, coin lovers, buckle up, because today, we're diving into something that might just make you rethink that change you've got rattling around in your pocket. I'm talking about the 1996 D Mint Mark Jefferson nickel, a coin that's not just any nickel, but one that could be worth, wait for it, up to $2.3 million. Yeah, you heard me right. A nickel worth more than most cars. Stick around to find out how to spot it and how much it could put in your pocket. The 1996 D Jefferson nickel isn't like other nickels in circulation. Most nickels from that year are worth, 5 cents, duh, it's a nickel. But the key here is a rare error that happened at the Denver Mint. You're looking for a special coin that has a misstrike or defect, and this mistake made it an absolute gem for collectors. So, what makes this coin so special? Well, let me tell you, it's not just a wow, that's a shiny nickel type of situation. If you find the right one, it could be worth more than my rent payment for a whole year. Imagine finding a coin and instantly becoming richer than your college professor. Sounds like a dream, right? But it's very real. And here's how to spot it. First off, the 1996 D nickel with the rare mint error is all about the details. Keep an eye out for the D mint mark, yep, the little letter on the back of the coin, right under the word Monticello. It's usually clear, but the error involves misstrikes where the D might appear more pronounced, doubled, or a little off-center. If you're looking at one of these beauties, you could be looking at something that's worth a fortune. Now, let me tell you a little personal story. A few years ago, I was sifting through a box of old coins my grandpa gave me. Honestly, most of them were just old pennies and some random quarters, nothing special. But I remember finding a 1996 D nickel, and I tossed it aside like, meh, it's just a nickel. I probably didn't even check for errors. Fast forward to this year, and I hear about this $2.3 million nickel, and I thought, wait, did I just throw away my ticket to the lottery? I know, rookie mistake. I felt like I missed out on becoming a millionaire by not checking those coins more carefully. Seriously, I would have had more money from that nickel than from all the snacks I've bought at 7-Eleven this year combined. But that's why we're here today, so you don't make the same mistake I did. So, how do you get this kind of value? Well, a 1996 D nickel with the right error could fetch anywhere from a few $100s to $2.3 million at auction. Yeah, it's a huge range, but the key is condition. If your coin's in perfect shape, pristine, almost no wear or scratches, you'll be sitting on a real treasure. Collectors are always looking for those flawless ones. And don't forget, grading is everything. If you're not sure about the value of your nickel, consider having it graded by a professional. They'll let you know if it's worth going big or just putting it in your coin jar for later. So, the moral of the story? Always check your change. You could have a $2.3 million nickel just sitting in your wallet right now, and no, I'm not joking. And for everyone who's just getting into coins, trust me, this world is full of treasures just waiting to be found. So, before you start tossing those nickels away, take a good look. Who knows, you might be holding on to a small fortune. Ever thought you might have a little treasure just sitting in your pocket? Well, buckle up because today we're talking about a coin that's worth a mind-blowing $2.1 million. Yes, you heard that right. A coin from 1998 with a D mint mark. Now, I know what you're thinking, there's no way my loose change is worth millions. But stick around, because I'm about to tell you how this seemingly ordinary nickel could change your life. Let's dive into this wild story about the 1998 D Jefferson nickel. Now, this coin is pretty much like the quiet kid in class who turns out to be a secret genius. Most of us probably don't give a second glance to a nickel, especially one from 1998, right? We're too busy digging for quarters or hunting down that elusive penny that's somehow worth $50 on eBay. But here's the kicker, in 1998, a few of these nickels were minted with a minting error, and that's what turned them into gold, well, figuratively gold. You see, a small but significant mistake led to some of these 1998 D nickels having a double die error. Basically, the coin's design got stamped twice, causing some weird, off-center details that make these nickels so valuable. Now, you're probably wondering, how would I even spot one of these? Well, it's not as complicated as you might think. You want to look for the obvious signs. If you find a 1998 nickel with weird, double text or a blurry image on the front, it could be your jackpot. The most notable signs of the double die are usually found in the word Liberty or in the date itself. But be careful, this error is super rare, so if you find one, you're definitely holding on to a piece of history. Okay, now you might be thinking, wait, where do I even sell this thing? How do I cash in on my $2.1 million fortune? Well, that's the tricky part. It's not just about finding the coin, it's about finding the right buyer. This kind of coin gets a lot of attention from serious collectors and auction houses. In fact, a few of these nickels have sold for over $2 million, yes, millions. Now, I'm not saying you're guaranteed to make that much, but hey, if you find one, it's worth a shot, right? But before you start rummaging through your piggy bank or digging through your change jar, let me tell you a little story. I once found a rare coin in my spare change. I was super excited and thought it could be worth at least $100. Turns out, it was just a regular penny from 2005 that had seen better days. I mean, hey, we can't all be lucky. But that's the fun part of coin hunting. Sometimes you strike out, but other times, you might hit the jackpot, and remember, it's not just the 1998 D nickels you should be watching out for. There are so many coins out there with rare errors that could potentially turn your coin jar into a mini treasure chest. You just need to know what you're looking for. So, here's the bottom line, that humble 1998 D Jefferson nickel sitting in your collection could be worth a fortune, $2.1 million, to be exact. Keep your eyes peeled, check your coins, and who knows? Maybe you'll be the next lucky collector to cash in on a huge find. But hey, even if you don't find a $2 million nickel today, don't give up on your coin collection dreams. There are plenty of other coins out there that could be worth way more than their face value. What if I told you that a humble nickel, yes, a nickel, could be worth $2 million? Sounds like something out of a treasure hunting movie, right? But this isn't Hollywood, this is real life, and it's all about that 1999 D mint mark Jefferson nickel. Stick around because we're diving deep into this shiny little gem that could potentially make you a millionaire. At first glance, a 1999 D mint marked Jefferson nickel might look like just another coin floating around in your change jar. It's not gold, it's not silver, heck, it doesn't even have the cool, rare look of some coins. But, don't let that fool you, some of these nickels are worth way more than their face value. So, why are some 1999 D nickels worth a fortune? The secret is in a tiny, nearly invisible minting error that happened during production. It's called a double die, which means the die used to stamp the coin was slightly misaligned. This error caused some of the images and text to be doubled or blurred, creating a ghosting effect. Now, here's the kicker, the 1999 D nickel with the double die error is not something you'll find in just any old pocket change. In fact, it's super rare. A few of these bad boys have been discovered, and when they pop up at auction, they can fetch upwards of $2 million. Yeah, you heard that right. I mean, who knew a coin worth just 5 cents could go for $2 million? Talk about a serious ROI, return on investment, but don't go thinking every 1999 D is worth a fortune. If you're looking through your change jar right now hoping to strike it rich, sorry to burst your bubble, but not every 1999 D is a winner. You'll need to look for that specific doubling error on the coin's obverse, that's the side with Jefferson's face, or the reverse, the side with Monticello, the building. The error is usually most noticeable on the word Liberty or the date. Speaking of looking through change jars, I've actually got a little story. A few years ago, I was hanging out with a friend who claimed he'd found a rare coin in his couch cushions. Now, I'm not saying I'm a coin expert, but I've been around the block enough times to know that people love claiming their pocket change is worth a fortune. So, I'm like, alright, let's see it. Turns out, his rare find was just a 1999 D nickel that had some interesting wear and tear. It wasn't a $2 million coin, but I swear, for a second, we both thought we had struck gold. So, here's my tip to you, always check your coins, just make sure you know what to look for. Like I said, not every 1999 D nickel is a jackpot, but you never know what you might find. Alright, so there you have it. That 1999 D Jefferson nickel with a double die error could be worth a small fortune, but only if you're lucky enough to find one in good condition. Keep your eyes peeled and maybe that next coin you find could be the big one. If you want to keep learning about rare coins, how to spot them, and how to make some serious money off your pocket change, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on future videos. If you think your pocket change is just, well, pocket change, think again. Imagine finding a coin that's worth a whopping $1 million. Yes, you heard that right, a coin worth $1 million. And no, I'm not talking about some old gold doubloon you found under your bed, I'm talking about a 2014 D mint marked Jefferson nickel. Sounds crazy, right? But stick with me, because by the end of this video, you might just want to take another look at your spare change jar. Who knows? You could be sitting on a hidden treasure. Because I know you're probably thinking, a nickel? Worth $1 million? That's got to be a typo. But no, it's not. There are some rare 2014 D nickels out there that have gone for insane amounts of money at auction. So, how does this happen? First, let me give you a little background. The 2014 D Jefferson nickel is a regular coin you can find in your change, right? So far, so normal. But here's the twist, every now and then, the US Mint produces a few coins with weird, sometimes unnoticed errors. These errors can make the coin incredibly rare and push its value way beyond its face value. Now, I know what you're thinking, what kind of errors are we talking about here? Well, these 2014 D nickels in question have striking errors. In some cases, the coins were misstruck, meaning the design on the coin didn't quite come out right, either due to the die being worn out or a little bit of human error at the mint. And, believe it or not, these imperfections make the coin much more valuable than you'd expect. Now, I've been collecting coins for a while, and I can tell you from personal experience, it's not every day you find a $1 million nickel. Heck, I found a rare penny in a coin jar once and got all excited, only to find out it was just an ordinary 2017 penny. Talk about a letdown, right? But I've also had some nice surprises, like that time I found a 1943 steel penny in a roll of change, which went for a solid $50. It's moments like that, when you hold something in your hand and think, this could actually be worth something, that make coin collecting so much fun. Now, I don't want to get your hopes up too high, because finding one of these million-dollar nickels is extremely rare. However, if you're ever going through your pocket change, keep an eye out for those key signs. What you're looking for is a misstruck or double die coin, where part of the image is off-center, blurry, or just plain messed up. And don't forget to check for the mint mark too. The D on the back of the nickel is where it's made, and for some reason, the 2014 D mint mark has produced these freakishly valuable errors. So, what are these rare coins actually worth? Well, some of them have sold for over $1 million at auction. Yeah, I know, it sounds insane. But when you're talking about a coin that's over 100 years old or has a rare error, sometimes the value just skyrockets. So, next time you're digging through your spare change, ask yourself, could this be the one? And there you have it, folks. A regular old nickel that could be worth a fortune. Who knew, right? But here's the thing, coin collecting isn't just about finding that one in a million jackpot. It's about learning, exploring, and maybe, just maybe, stumbling upon a hidden gem along the way. So, what should you do now? Start checking your change. But also, if you want more tips on coins worth money, strategies for collecting, and some hilarious coin hunting stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I promise, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and good luck out there. You never know when you might find your own $1 million nickel.